Hi, it's Dr. Morazy with Minutes for Moms here to give you more practical pediatric advice. This is going to be a video about kind of discipline, kind of what we're going to start with discipline-wise. I'm going to start between maybe that 1 to 2-year-old time, maybe 2.5, because from a developmental standpoint, what they can kind of understand kind of goes in kind of stages. So that first 2 years of life, there's different things that you do then as opposed to when they're truly toddlers, 3, 4, 5-year-olds. So for the most part, really what you're going to do those first really 9 months of life, they're not really getting into anything because they don't have that mobility. At 9 months of age, they're starting to crawl, but they don't really know that right from wrong. One thing that I will have you do is, so we had a step going from our hallway going down into our family room, and the way that I got them to learn that they needed to be careful because they couldn't really hurt themselves going down one step, I'd say, all right, guy, oh, careful, boo-boo, careful, boo-boo, careful, boo-boo, and then they'd tumble, and then they would cry. But what happened is they got that careful boo-boo, and whenever I would say that, they would then pause, and that would give me a couple steps to get closer to them. So you're doing a little bit of kind of verbal warning at that point, really at that 9-month mark. Between 12 and 18 months of age, what happens is they start to get their independence. They're starting to walk. They're starting to figure out the different things that they enjoy. So I don't want to say that they're kind of pushing their limits, but they're just really starting to explore. So I might be interested in the pots underneath the counter, and if you don't want me in those, kind of the most important thing that you do between that 12 and 18 month mark is you just kind of distract them. So you're going to pick the baby up and you're just going to put the child over and just give them something completely different to kind of play with. And they aren't going to remember that as much. And then you put something in front of that counter, in front of that cabinet, or you just do something like that. So distraction is really your key thing when you do discipline between that 12 and 18 month mark, because they otherwise really don't know better and they're so completely content exploring something completely different. Between 18 months and 24 months is really you are starting to evolve into your terrible twos right around that 18-month mark. And the reason why is they remember. They remember what they want. So you might take me from here to there and try to distract me, but 10 minutes later, I'm going to remember what I was getting into, and I'm still going to try to get into something that you tried to distract me away from. So that part of discipline is really becomes a little bit kind of tricky. So between that 18 and 24 month mark, then I also start to know kind of that right from wrong. I know that whenever I go over here and I play with the television or I play with kind of all these cords, I get into trouble, and it's going to be more of like a harsh no, and kind of that kind of picking me up no and moving me over here. I might cry because I'm starting to figure out that your tone of voice, that you're upset with me. And that is how you're going to start to kind of get them to learn. So what you do from a discipline standpoint, and what we kind of did at our house, is as we start to figure out that right from wrong, you want to have a consequence that they don't like. And a consequence that they don't like is isolation. They don't like timeouts. Well, timeouts, in my opinion, sitting in a chair here, you put me in timeout, well, I'm going to climb on the chair. I'm going to jump on the chair. I'm going to go all over the place. And then you're going to get upset with me, and you're going to come over here, and you're going to hold me in that chair. Well, now you're touching me. I have that physical touch, so timeout isn't as bad. So really what I have people do from a timeout standpoint, starting between 1.5 and 2 years of age, is use an old car seat, use a high chair, use something that I can't get out of. We had no furniture in our dining room for years. That was our timeout room. And right in the middle of that room was an old car seat. So when my boys, so I've got all boys, when they would start to be disruptive and they wouldn't listen, I'd be like, careful, that's 1. Careful, that's 2. And if I got 3, they knew where they were going. So that was that timeout. They'd go in that. And sometimes I would be so mad at them, they'd be sitting in that chair for 5 to 10 minutes. Other times it was a minute per year of age. But there's kind of, sometimes you just are so upset that you yourself need to go calm down. And you know that they're completely contained in their car seat. The nice thing with using like an old car seat is I'm stuck here, I'm strapped in, I can't do anything at all except basically just sit there. And then when you go take them out, you don't relive all the negative things that happened to get them into that high chair. What you do is you say, all right, let's be nice. And you take them out of there. And it makes all the difference in the world. So that discipline technique is really that 1, 2, 3 consequence. And if you kind of follow that and you make things black and white, they'll push you to 2, but they won't let you get to 3. So that is really, really nice. The hard thing that I had is when I would go out in public, I didn't have that car seat as my backup when my kids would kind of misbehave. So one of the things that I would do, and I learned that from one of my friends who had 3 boys, was she always had a stroller. Half the time she didn't have a kid in a stroller, but the other times, if they misbehaved 1, 2, 3, that was their timeout chair. That was where they ended up going. So they might have been kicking and screaming, but you can still finish what you're doing because you now have them completely contained sitting in that stroller. So some sort of device that you can do that contains them, that you're not holding them, they're not then able to kind of get physically rough with you, and then you're not getting more mad, and that will work. So remember, that discipline technique of 1, 2, 3 consequence will make all the difference in the world. That is definitely something that you're going to work on from a discipline standpoint from here till at least 2, 2.5. And then what we'll do is I will give you some more advice when it comes to how to discipline our older children. So I sure hope that gave you nice practical pediatric advice for discipline for your child for the first 2, 2.5 years of life. Once again, I'm Dr. Morazy with Minutes for Moms. If this is your first time coming to my channel, please give me a like and definitely subscribe so you get all the updated versions of my advice that I give. Once again, now you know what I know. Until next time, thanks.